This is for the vacant 155-pound lightweight championship. First up, please welcome to the cage, Jonas, Flok.
Pretty amazing night here tonight. 12 bouts at Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 12. And out of the 10 that we've had so far, 9 of them have not left the first round. Gerald, you just don't see that too often.
No, it's been a great night of fights, and keep in mind, these have been really good matchups. They're competitive fights up until the finish. One guy's just a little bit better and takes advantage of it, but, you know, here we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be another quick finish in this title fight.
Jonas Flok a little early for Halloween as being led in by the Stormtroopers. He's donning his Darth Vader mask, and okay, I don't know if that makes me think he's taking this seriously or not seriously at all. Not quite sure, and if you're wearing that kind of stuff, why not come into the Imperial March? Just a thought, Jonas. Anyways,
you know, everyone's got their own way of getting ready for a fight. If this keeps him loose and, you know, helps take the pressure off a little bit, then you know what? You got to do what you got to do.
You're all for it, as GM3 likes it. Okay, Jonas Flok, you see him there on the Carbon World Health tail of the tape. He is getting ready to fight Dennis Anderson. This is an open title at 155. These are lightweights, and Flok ranked number 5 in Wisconsin, fights out of Sheboygan and Pura Vida.
Next up, his opponent, Dennis Anderson.
You know, Gerald, I think the funniest thing about the way that Jonas Flok came into the ring with the masks is after they threw the masks out, you kept the Stormtrooper mask.
Hey, he threw it to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's my Stormtrooper mask now. So
you got yourself a souvenir. I love it. As Dennis Anderson is coming into the cage now, and DA came out of retirement to beat Jimmy Zidek. That was back in January at Chosen Few number 10. We weren't sure we were going to see Dennis fight again. He decided to come out of retirement one more time, and why not when you get a chance to fight for a strap? And that's what's on the line. Boy, the enticement of the title will make you do some things, won't it?
And more power to him. You know, Dennis has been around at least as long, if not longer, than I have on the Wisconsin MMA scene, so it's great to see him get in there and scrap one more time.
Everybody excited to see him back in the cage as they were back in January. He looks ready to go. We'll head back up to the cage and Chris Garrity.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is brought to you by Coliseum Bar and features 5 rounds for the vacant Chosen Few Lightweight Championship. Introducing first, this man fighting out of the Harley-Davidson of Madison, blue corner. He weighed in at 156.5 pounds. His professional record, 6 victories, only 3 defeats. He represents Pura Vida Mixed Martial Arts. Hailing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Jonas Joe Nasty Flok. His opponent, this man, fighting out of the Coliseum Bar, red corner. His professional record, 12 victories, 8 defeats. He stands in at 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 155 ready pounds. He hails from Stoughton, Wisconsin, and represents the Chosen Few. Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Anderson.
This is an educated fight crowd here at the Monona Terrace. They know they're fighting and they know they're fighters, and they give it up for guys that they've seen fight over and over again and fight in some great battles. And that's why you hear the roar of support for one Dennis Anderson. Anderson, Flok, ready to go, as this is just underneath our main event. So our penultimate fight of the evening. And Anderson, I thought it was kind of funny for a guy that has used submissions for a lot of his career. Recently, when we interviewed him on the Sports News, he said in this fight, he wants to stay on his feet.
Well, you always want to stay on your feet with the Pura Vida guys. They are jiu-jitsu specialists in that gym, and Dennis is susceptible to submissions. Anything around the neck has given him problems over his professional career, guillotines and triangles especially. So, again, if you're in Josh Sterry's, if you're Josh Sterry in his corner, Damian Decora, Kane Rizzo, those guys over there, you're telling him you have length and reach on this guy, stay striking, you're going to be able to land.
Definitely use your reach, use that long jab, establish that you have that room to work, make him not want to close that distance, and pick him apart until you see an opening and can ultimately knock him out.
Good to see Anderson back in there again. We weren't sure if we were going to see him again after his win over Jimmy Zidek back in January. Now, in that bout, he did a good job of getting down on the ground and then using his elbows to secure the victory.
Spent the whole fight introducing his elbow to Jimmy Zidek's cheekbones. It was nasty, it was bloody, and it was beautiful all at the same time. Elbow technique isn't something that truly can be taught. I believe a lot of guys are just natural artists when it comes to the elbow. Obviously, Gerald would have a little bit more insight with that. But there are guys that just cannot swing the elbow the same way and use those cutters like Dennis Anderson can.
Right. On the feet, there's definitely a lot of technique to elbows, and there's a lot of ways to use it to hurt people. But on the ground, you just got to be mean. And a lot of the old school fighters, you know, will use any tool that we have available to us to inflict pain. And if you're going to hit a guy on the ground, why not use a part that's not padded?
It was mean. It was bloody. You talked about that, and I'm glad you called them cutters because that's what he did to the face of one Jimmy Zidek. So right now, the fight going exactly how Anderson wants it. He wants to be on his feet in this fight, and so far, mission accomplished. And he's taking his opponent off his feet with a good combination.
Rushed in a little quick there, threw a flying knee, and now he ends up on his back. He's working for a submission right away, controlling the head and the wrist. So far, so good for Dennis on the ground, but Jonas establishing some control on top.
Nice hematoma developing under Anderson's left eye from an overhand right from Jonas earlier. We're going to see how that takes its toll too, because it's a little low right now, but if he keeps hitting that spot, Dennis's eye is going to close up from that thing.
Anderson almost had a look on his face as he rushed in too early, like, I can't believe I did that. So he got a little excited, but he did land some good blows. He's back on his feet right now and looking good and looking to add some more combinations and scoring here in round number one.
That overhand right is landing almost every time Dennis throws it. As long as he leads first with the left jab, he just needs to stick with that 1-2 combo because he's eventually going to knock Flok out if he keeps it up.
Right, Flok has to come to Anderson in order to take him down or really to do anything at being the shorter fighter. As long as Dennis can use that jab every time he sees Flok step in, he'll have a lot more success. But now we see Flok closing the distance and getting a nice takedown and securing side control.
And a great job from Jonas Flok there. That's the way he has to win this fight. And ending up in side control is an extreme positive, especially when you've got a longer fighter underneath you. It pretty much takes away anything that that Dennis's hips had for him in a guard or a half guard.
And a strong takedown there, yeah, and you see Dennis right now getting an elbow to the bottom of his chin as well, trying to work out of that. As the ref's right in front of us, we got to use the screen behind us to see what's going on here, but Dennis is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, right now Dennis has to get his hips moving. He's going to try and trim and at very least regain guard, if not find a way to get back to his feet. Possibly trying to inch closer towards the cage, see if he can't use that cage wall to walk his way back up.
I want our cameraman, if he can, next time they turn, to get a good look at Dennis's face. He has a second hematoma now coming up under his right eye. Both eyes are at risk of closing, and it's only the first round, Rich.
A lot of big hits so far here in round number one. Both fighters inflicting and taking damage here in the first round, and Dennis on his back now for an extended amount of time and getting the worst of it here from Jonas Flok, who continues to have control here in the first round.
And that right eye's in a lot of trouble, Rich. Do you see it?
Yep. Now some strong punches here from Flok as Anderson's able to make it out of the first round. Both guys taking some shots, but Anderson in some trouble as we go to round number 2 here on 57 Sports. All right, here's a look at the first round, and you see with Anderson up on his feet, he looked a lot more comfortable and was able to land that big right.
Yeah, the 1-2 was working really well for Dennis. You saw it right there, that overhand right knocking Jonas down. But what Jonas did was keep patient. He knew he could take Dennis down, and he dominated the end of the first round, really doing some damage on Dennis's face. And he could have stolen the round from Dennis on the judges' scorecards, because they're going to take that damage into play here. And that took what it could have been an easy 10-9 from Dennis to now a 10-9 over to Jonas.
Kind of funny that we get to talk about scoring in this fight. This is only the second fight that's actually gone past the first round out of the 11 that we have seen so far tonight. One of the quickest cards that you will ever be a part of and see. And it's just been nonstop action here tonight. A great job by Josh Sterry doing the matchmaking here tonight. It has given the fans a lot of thrills here at the Monona Terrace.
And something else I don't like that Dennis does, every time he throws a kick, every time he throws a right hand, his left hand drops to his belt level and leaves his face wide open. He's taking damage on counter punches from Jonas also. He needs to make sure he's also protecting himself when he throws.
Right. If I'm in Anderson's corner, I'm telling him to establish a nice strong jab to prevent Jonas from coming in to set up the kick, set up the right hand. And if I'm on Jonas's corner, I'm telling him to do what he's doing right now, get that takedown.
And now the face of Anderson has been ripped wide open. There is blood above the eyes coming from, it looks like, I believe, the forehead and coming out. So in the last fight we saw him against Zydek, it was Anderson that was able to open up the forehead. This time it's Anderson that's sustaining the damage.
I've seen a lot of Dennis's fights, Rich. I've never seen his face tattooed up like this before. This is the worst beating he's taken so far that I've seen.
Give credit to Flok. He's been landing knees in here, punches, everything. Anderson doing everything he can to try to get out of this, but Flok takes him down once again.
Oh, but he gets an underhook. He comes back up. He's going to be on top here. Flok holding on to that headlock, but Anderson ultimately coming to his feet up to the back. Nice reversal.
You know, in most cases with a fight like this, you say, hey, you got 5 rounds. Take your time, feel your opponent out. I don't know if Dennis's face has 5 rounds, and you're going to have to watch Al Wickers, and our referee here, and to see how he takes a look at that blood coming from Dennis and those eyes closing up, because he might call the doc in the ring in between round here or just in this round at some point, because Dennis is starting to look pretty rough.
Exactly. Right, red stream of blood coming down, but the crowd trying to urge Anderson on, and it's almost like he's been able to feel them here in the second round. It got him off the mat and back to the position he wants to be in, and that's within striking distance of Flok.
I want you to look at the body language of both fighters. Look how confidently Jonas is throwing punches, bobbing his head, the just intent in his eyes to do damage, where Dennis a little more meek. You can tell he's in trouble with his vision right now. Both eyes are probably completely blurry, which is going to mess with how accurate all of his punches are. Completely different stance from both fighters right now.
He did land a pretty good right, though, on the chin of Flok, but Flok doing a good job of sustaining damage from Anderson, and now he's able to lock up that left leg once again as Flok going for another takedown.
Yeah, Flok in on a single leg here. Dennis threatening with a guillotine and uses it to try and reverse him, still ends up on bottom. Now here we saw Dennis stand up last time. Flok letting him come up to his feet again, just not quite enough forward pressure, but now he's going to try and return to the mat. And there it is, trying to keep that ground control. And the biggest thing for Dennis on the feet, he's just been waiting too much, waiting on Flok to make a move that's allowed him to close the distance to get these takedowns. And now working for the back is Jonas Flok.
Anderson trying to get out of the embrace of Flok, who's got him wrapped up by the chest. It is, I think, caused Anderson to use a lot of energy here in the second round. And now chokehold is in. Anderson trying to get out of it. Does he have it locked?
It was on the chin. It looks like it slid under. could be in some real trouble here.
Anderson trying to push it off of him. You see the ref, inches away, trying to see if it is. He taps out, and that'll do it. Dennis Anderson unable to sustain Joe Nasty. Jonas Flok, who was all over Anderson tonight, and once he was able to get in on Anderson and away from that overhand right, it was Flok's fight.
That was an impressive victory, Rich. Dennis came in here most likely the favorite in this fight, has an entire crowd behind him, everybody expecting Dennis to take his first championship home, and Jonas dominated in this fight. Look at Dennis's face right now. That is domination.
Yeah, Anderson really wanted this again, coming out of a little mini retirement here. We didn't know if we'd ever see him fight again. Now that same question has to loom after Jonas Flok gets the impressive win here tonight. All right, we'll come back. We'll get the official word from Chris, and then our main event is right around the corner. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back here on 57 Sports. All right, back for the replays here of this lightweight pro title fight, and Dennis Anderson, a bit of a bloody mess here in the second round as Jonas Flok was able to take it to him.
You know, both guys fought hard. Dennis Anderson landed some good strikes on the feet, but Jonas took him with stride, ultimately securing it on the ground, getting his back, and as you saw there, got the rear naked choke.
And that'll do it as Anderson will fall to 12-9 and came oh so close to his first pro title here tonight. But Jonas Flok is going to walk away as the brand new chosen few lightweight pro champion. Let's get the word from Chris.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the end of this bout comes at 4 minutes of round number 2 for your winner by rear naked choke and the new lightweight chosen few champion, Jonas Joe Nasty Flok.
Well, the Darth Vader and Stormtrooper masks worked. You were right. GM3, you called it. If it works for him, it works.
Extremely impressive victory. You dominated for most of that fight. You had a taller, longer fighter that looked like he had a striking advantage in the beginning, but then you started lumping him up, took him down, was really dominant on top, landing those punishing blows and really lumping up his eyes. Was that the game plan from the beginning, to get on top?
The game plan was actually kind of working on my stand-up a little bit, but opportunity presented itself to get the takedown, so I took it when I had it.
Well, and you really changed your game plan, and it worked well for you in that second round. It seemed like you knew once you got him to the ground, you were going to be able to finish him. Tell us a little bit about the choke at the end. How are you with rear naked chokes? Is that one of your favorite moves?
Not really my favorite, but definitely a staple. Something I can feel pretty confident sinking in. Had his back, didn't quite have my hooks in. Being by the cage, I kind of kicked out his left heel, able to get my hook in. From there, it's just rotating him to the side, get the other hook, get the choke, flatten him out.
Well, once again, extremely impressive victory. You are the new champion here at Chosen Few, our new lightweight champion. Folks, let's give him a big round of applause. Jonas Joe Nasty Flok.
Well, the only vacant title of the night was the 155-pound title, and this is Jonas Flok took on Dennis Anderson, a veteran in this sport and in the Madison area for sure. So a fight like that, what was the game plan coming in against a veteran?
I had actually seen Dennis fight in January. He fought one of my former teammates, Jimmy Zidek. So I watched that tape a lot, kind of got a game plan. Originally, I wanted to really crash his lead leg, kind of make him try and switch stance. I know he wasn't real good in a southpaw stance. My coach just kind of switched it up on me, said stick to your jab, have faith in your jab. He'll fall apart, and that's what he did.
And Jonas Flok, Joe Nasty, where's that name's got to come from somewhere, and I know you were grinding your elbow into Dennis Anderson and getting him to bleed a little bit. Is that where does that name come from?
I originally got it probably 6-7 years ago. It's just kind of the style I got, a real rough, tough, grinding style, real kind of nasty style to work with.
Yeah, well, you got the title around your waist, so that must feel pretty good. So give me your thoughts on that. You got to feel pretty darn good you get that title now, a vacant title.
Feels real good. Been in the sport now for almost 6 years, so finally get a title shot. really feels good to make progress and feel like things are paying off.
That'd be Jonas Flok defeats Dennis Anderson in the 155-pound title fight here at Chosen Few 12.